Hello guys, it's been a while, I know, mostly because, oh, I'll explain all of that in another video which is going to come after, but I've been buying a lot of manga recently. I might talk about all my collection later, but it's stuff other people have talked about before, especially Digibro. He's mainly talked about these other manga that I've been buying, but he hasn't talked about this one, and this one I want to talk about because I have some stuff to say. It's Citrus. It's a yuri manga by Saburota. It's a yuri manga, and one of the stuff that I wanted to talk about is specifically panel flow and sort of moving between scenes and transitioning between scenes in manga, specifically in this one, and how it doesn't really work. My full thoughts on this are it's okay. Like, the story's pretty interesting. I mean, it's your typical, like, you know, soap opera, romance, high school, you know, raunchy, smutty crap. I mean, you know, a lot of just very sexual stuff happens in it. It's not overly, like, you know, in your face and blatant about its sex appeal and shit. Let me find a scene, because there's a scene around here that's like pretty smutty. Yeah, I mean, you know, you get your typical, you know, stuff like this, you know, where characters just like force each other onto beds and make out like super harshly, and you see, like, you know, like tears and everything's so emotional. Like, it's that type of story. Look at my hair. But it's interesting enough. It's definitely got some deeper characters, some good competition between them, some good back and forth sort of power structure between, like, the relationships that are going on, and some stuff that isn't related to romance specifically, more to the characters and their own styles of life, which is different. It's a good takeaway and, like, divergence from just all romance and just all romantic interactions. And there's a whole dad storyline going on here in volume 2, with the main girl, with May, and she has to deal with some stuff with her dad, and it's always interesting and provides more of, like, a build up to her character, just aside from being just this, like, sort of stuck up girl. But yeah, the one detail that I really wanted to talk about in Citrus was in some of these scenes, specifically on this volume, the way the scenes transition between one and another is just awful, and I'll explain to you why. Let's just go to, like, the end of a scene. Let's look for, like, there were two that specifically spoke to me, because they're basically scenes that are very emotionally resonant and very powerful scenes, and the scene moves on to a new scene right in the middle or right after all the emotion has reached its climax. So there's no downtime from that scene, and that's the frustrating part. I think I found it. Here's this one. So I showed you this last page before, which is the one where May pushes Yuzu onto the bed, and she's like, oh, you need me, don't you? Like, this is what you want. And then on the next page, Yuzu slaps her, tells her, I don't want it like this. Then you get this. Do you even think about other people's feelings? Ends in a question. Then we get one tiny little page, one tiny little strip. Sorry about that. One tiny little strip of like scene transition, and then it's a completely, it's a completely new scene. It's the following morning. The same characters are not even in the same scene. It's completely different. That hits you like a truck, because you're still stuck on this scene right here. Like, this is not over. They're still on top of each other. They're still, like, arguing. The scene ends in a question. So why would you transition into a new scene completely, and why would you do it in such an abrupt and meaningless way? Like, this little strip of here, that's all we get as a transition, and it's nothing. It's not even in the different pages. it's so jarring. It's honestly distracting. And another aspect about this is what, like, this whole, this show does have like a good perception of how to do page turners. You know, it's those situations when you're reading, right, and it's an emotional scene, it's a big scene, and right at the end of this, like, one page like this, there's something that happens, and you're like, oh my god, what happens? And you immediately flip the next one. It raises the stakes and excitement because you can't see what's coming next. You know, the manga works in such a way where you can see everything that's going on in one scene, like in one single shot, in one page. Like, all this is right here. And you can't tell what's going on after it. You have your own pacing to it. So when you have scenes that, you know, like this one right here, but stuff like this, you know, the characters are crying, they're sort of reminiscing about it, and then it ends like this, you know, Mei grabs Yuzu, and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? And you like, the excitement and the intensity of, like, the scene raises up, and you want to turn around and see what happens, and then the next scene, it's the payoff, you know, it's the big kiss moment at the end of the thing, and it's passionate. Like, that type of stuff is really strong with this. It has that ability to, you know, sort of control your own level of excitement on each scene, and that's what I like the most about this, is that it has that ability to input that sort of you know, page turning, increased excitement, moment to moment basis. The biggest problem that I have with it is the pacing, because those scene transitions happen a lot. They happen frequently. There's a lot of times where the story will just skip a certain time or just skip to another day, and it's done in such a short, just like whatever way, that it doesn't feel natural, and it just takes you out of the experience. And that's my biggest problem with Citrus right now. I'll keep getting more of these. I mean, I love the story right now. I'm really into it. These characters are all horrible, as most Yuri manga tend to. Well, not most, because I'm reading Bloom Into You right now, and Bloom Into You is full of, like, super okay characters who just kind of, they're good people. Like, in Bloom Into You, it's another Yuri manga that they're good people. Like, but in here you kind of get a sense that they're sort of in their own mind. They're sort of like stuck on a loop, because she's like in constant conflict with herself over whether or not she likes Mei, and Mei is in constant conflict with herself because she has like a sort of she has like this goal that her dad set in mind for her, and she has to follow it, and she always like puts extra work on her shoulders and stuff like that. It's honestly interesting, and I like characters like that, characters with deep flaws and in constant conflict with each other and with themselves, more importantly. So yeah, Citrus is okay, but I mainly just wanted to critique that whole area of, you know, pacing, and it's just whatever. It's not good, and I hope it improves over the course of the next volumes, because there's like 4 or 5 volumes in total. I think there's a 6th one coming. I know there's an anime adaptation coming out, which I can't wait for that. But yeah, Citrus. That's it.